Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, the rain finally stopped here in the Ozarks. It was a little drizzly, misty this morning, but not a whole lot of accumulation today. Yesterday, mostly yesterday, I guess it was, got about 5 inches of rain or so throughout the area, and possibly could get another 4 or 5 or even more tomorrow night into Saturday. So quite a bit of rain coming over the last few days. Also some chances of severe weather, not as much here, but I mean we still have a risk for it, but especially west of here, tornadoes. In fact, it's looking more and more likely that there could be some very strong tornadoes, so be on the lookout for that. Large hail, golf ball, maybe even up to tennis ball size hail. They're talking about winds of up to 80 mile an hour straight line winds. That's some really devastating, all those together. So if you live in that area, North Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, and western Missouri, be very acutely aware of what's going on and prepared. And then just kind of all of that south central U.S. is at risk. So kind of keep on your toes and stay weather aware, because from the things that I'm looking at, it looks like there's going to be at least some areas it's going to get hit really hard. So anyways, goodness, news, it's crazy. Some White House officials, unnamed, so who knows if it's true or not, apparently spoke with Politico, which isn't, they're left slanted, so who knows if this is 100% accurate, but it doesn't sound like it's too far-fetched. But anyways, they spoke with Politico saying that the planning and preparations for this particular conflict with Iran were very limited. They didn't plan for very much and didn't plan for very far into it, and so now the White House and the Pentagon are scrambling to try to come up with a plan, now that we're stuck in this for a while, to try to come up with a plan that may work for the next several months, because the Pentagon is now saying that it's very likely that we will be involved with this at least until September of this year. That's months away. Months, 6, 7, 8 months is what they're talking now. It went from a few days to a few weeks to 8 weeks to now we're talking long time. Just to put some things in perspective, and I know I've had some people call me out, call me bad little names. It almost hurt my feelings, but they didn't. That's a joke. They didn't hurt my feelings. That I was crazy for saying that the United States is using up so much of its weapons, and that we're running out and everything. In the first 3 days of this, we used 800 Patriot missiles. Now, how many of you for the last 4 years have been complaining about how much weapons and money and stuff we've been sending to Ukraine to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia, right? Everyone, started under Biden and then Trump. He's continued it for the most part. That 800 Patriot missiles that's been used in the first 3 days of this conflict is more than all the Patriot missiles that have been used in Ukraine. In 3 days, we used more Patriot missiles than have been used in all the time in Ukraine. The whole thing. Going through a lot, folks. There's been a growing, how would I put this? There's a growing opinion that Israel has been conducting these false flag attacks in other countries. First with Ukraine, the United Kingdom, there in Cyprus. Now it's possible the missile that was fired at Turkey. And then now, while this one isn't confirmed yet, I mean, Iran says that it's what's going on, but there was an attack on Azerbaijan, and then Azerbaijan kind of spoke up and said, "Hey, we're gonna get involved in this, and we're gonna side with the United States and Israel." And then Iran reached out to him and said, "Hey, we had nothing to do with this. We believe it's Israel." Maybe they showed them some evidence. And now the president or prime minister or whatever of Azerbaijan says, "Nope, we're not going to have anything to do with this. We're going to back away." So, more countries are starting, and then also in Saudi Arabia. At first, it was believed that Iran attacked Saudi Arabia, and then Iran said, "No, we didn't attack you. That was Israel." And maybe they said enough to them to make them to believe it, because now Saudi Arabia is saying that the United States and Israel cannot use their bases or any of their territory to attack Iran. So things are starting to change, and not really for the good, for the American side. There's also belief today that an Iranian drone struck the USS Lincoln, which is the big aircraft carrier. That's what the Iranian news is reporting. And just moments after that happened, that aircraft carrier turned and moved out about 600 miles away. I don't know. It's possible. It's totally possible. President says that he's firing Kristi Noem and putting in some new guy. Apparently, she lied about approval of all of those TV and online campaigns that made her look like some kind of rock star. She did not get approval for that, and she said that she did. So I guess she's out. Who knows? Probably the biggest news that I really wanted to talk about, that's just all the stuff that, it's bad, it's getting worse, you better prepare kind of thing. But this one's bigger. Kuwait now has said, along with many other countries in the Middle East now, but Kuwait is the newest one, that says that they are shutting down all their oil production because the Strait of Hormuz is shut down. They have no way of getting their oil out, and because of the war and safety issues, they're going to shut down all their production for now. There's several countries that's done that in the Middle East. Now, again, I know that the United States doesn't get as much oil, that we don't hardly get any oil from the Middle East anymore. But all the countries that do get their oil from the Middle East will now be wanting to buy from the countries that we get them from. Places that, whether it's us or Canada or Russia. And so it's going to increase the demand, and it's reducing the overall global supply. Last I checked today, oil prices per barrel had gone up over $80 a barrel. It wasn't that long ago, just days ago, it was like 65. So it's, $15 or so a barrel increase within about a week. And a lot of experts believe it's going to hit at least 100 or more. So there's that. That's going to affect a lot. Here's another thing. Urea, that's it. It is the main chemical in fertilizers, in all fertilizers. And basically every bit of food that's produced on the planet uses some kind of fertilizer in the supply chain. It's very critical. Remember during COVID, when all those cargo container ships and stuff were backed up, and then people were saying, we're not going to get fertilizer, there's going to be fertilizer shortages and all this kind of stuff. It's going to cause prices to go up. 50% of fertilizer, of urea, this chemical that's made in fertilizer, 50% of it is produced in the Middle East. And all the shipping of that has been shut down. It's not going anywhere. Ships are not sailing. The president said that any ships that want to sail through the Strait of Hormuz, that the U.S. Navy will escort them for safety. The U.S. Navy said, we don't have ships that can do that. We don't have enough ships. We can't do that. We don't have the extra ships to do that. And there are no ships that are requesting that, because no ships are going through there, period. They're not taking the president up on his offer, because I believe it's kind of like what he does a lot of times. He just speaks off the cuff, and the Navy says we don't have that ability. And so, it's all shut down. The shipping in that whole region, because of the worries of all the war stuff going on, is really coming to a halt. So if 50% of the main chemical in fertilizer is being shut down, then that means fertilizer production is going to shut down, which means it won't take too long to where it starts affecting, especially if this thing drags out to at least September, or even longer, years. Food prices, it's going to go up. Shortages, food availability is going to go down. So that's two really big things: oil and food, and it's being affected. There's already talks because of all this stuff, the shipping and the oil and everything, and then Iran, who is actually a big food producer for the region, is not exporting anything anymore. China has already said that they're not going to export any of their oil or gas. They've shut down all exports of that. That comes directly from Xi Jinping. Now there's this talk of there could be major food shortages and stuff in the Middle East. I'm telling you, this is spiraling out of control quickly. We're not into this even a week yet, folks, and it is starting to spiral. What's it gonna? And there was one. I think he was a former CIA analyst. I was reading his article, and he was saying that even if you look at on the very most conservative end of 4 weeks, when Trump said this would take, he says, I don't think we can even handle this for 4 weeks. He said, I don't think the economy and the military and everything could handle this for even 4 weeks. He said, let alone 8 weeks or to September. He said the amount of devastation and destruction that's going to happen to everything in just 4 weeks is significant. So you better buckle up. I think I said yesterday, I can't remember if I said this on the YouTube video or if I said this over on my locals. I don't know. But our team, the emergency response team that I founded and I'm director of here for our county, we do a lot of planning. I mean, we train all the time. And that's more like the skills training, but we also do a lot of planning, like tabletop exercises. We round table, we set and we brainstorm scenarios and we come up with how we do things. We are brainstorming, like, I guess you could call it continuity of government type stuff, but for around here, contingency plans based on what's going on in the world, because it's not looking really good. And I very strongly suggest, even if you do it in your kitchen table with your family, you need to be coming up with some contingency plans with this event that's happening and how it's affecting you, how it could affect you, and what you're going to do to prepare for and get ready. Because I'm telling you, folks, it's not looking good at all. I think it may be worse than I even thought it would be in the beginning. You need to get ready. You need to get your houses in order and prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.